We can get to real topics.
Okay.
I just wanted to have fun for a minute.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to have fun here. You ready to talk Pels?
No, I thought we were done with that. But
We-
okay, let's do it.
no,
this is
we're-
the last time. We
we're-
are putting a bow
we're
on
putting
the
a bow on
Pelican
it.
season until off season.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Before I
And
have
we get more false hope.
yeah. Listen, I talked to you guys about my positivity. I tried to will us to victory,
Sucks.
and it didn't. It was not happening. C.J. McCollum be damned. So I have a game that we're going to close the Pelicans discussion with. But before we get into that, do you have thoughts on the game itself, like the actual play-in game we just had, or any thoughts on the season, or anything you want to just let go of?
I mean, we kind of talked about it the other day. We kind of foreshadowed everything in a way, you know. I guess like the big questions, is the season a failure? Yeah. I saw somebody reply to us and say that for the players, no, but for the front office, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily know what they mean by that.
I think if I had to guess, venture to guess, like, you know, players playing through adversity, you could say the coaching staff is out also coaching through adversity, but
yeah.
I don't know. What do you do though as a front office when you lose your 2-star players for more than half the season at a time? You know, like what do you have a better plan? The only better plan is to just not have those star players and have other star players.
All right, so you can kind of go like step by step here of where things went wrong, I guess, right? I get one of the biggest things you're going to see people say is they should have made a move at the deadline. So hindsight, I guess.
There was no move to be made. We had that discussion.
We say that, right? But the Lakers rebuilt their whole team with way less than what we had.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you could have got just what the Lakers got, the team is a lot better. Granted, that's not trades that I thought we needed to make.
Well, we were in those discussions reportedly for those same players.
Yeah, and that's something else I always say too. Like everybody's like, "Oh, we sat still." I'm like, you don't know. Like you don't know that we didn't put out an offer. Like, and yeah, on paper we have everything better to offer than most teams in the league, but you don't know. There could have just been there's definitely scenarios where like two GMs just don't, negotiate well with each other and things like that, and they'd rather negotiate with the Lakers, or you know what I mean? There's different or things that could have happened that led to us not getting the players that we wanted. You can't just sit there and say, "Oh, we didn't try." Like you don't know that. You're not in the room. You don't know.
Do you think? Because it damn sure seemed like it. Do you think other GMs, not to go all conspiracy theory, but maybe wanted to help LeBron a little bit there?
I don't know. You think that the GMs are like Team LeBron?
I don't fucking know.
Or
I don't know what.
I see. If you're saying like if you're looking at it as like a conspiracy theory kind of thing, I look at it as I think GMs kind of dislike LeBron for how he changed the way the league works. So I don't know that they'd want to help him.
That's a fair point.
But I don't know that they'd look at it as helping LeBron. I think that the owners are more tied in. Maybe they like Genie and want to help the Lakers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I could also see Griff kind of being like somebody that roasts people the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like if he starts spewing that used car salesman shit, like they'd be like, "Yeah, no thanks." But I don't know, man. That's like the first thing people are gonna bring up is standing pat at the deadline. Which, yeah, now that sucks because the pick you held on to it's not. It just becomes next year's pick.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine the Lakers get worse.
No.
I don't know how long they have all these guys they traded for, but if they have most of them, they're a good team from jump. So that pick's kind of useless. Now you're moving on to the Bucks picks, which are pretty useless as long as they have Giannis. So it's like all the assets you have now you're just down to your young players.
Right. Now you're just a young team with promise without the assets.
Granted, I mean, first round picks have value no matter what, right?
Sure.
Because people are going to take it. I mean, the year the Lakers had we got the Lakers' 4th pick. Like, I don't think anybody expected. Well, I guess they did because the Lakers were terrible then. But you know what I mean? Like, you never know when one player gets hurt and that pick becomes terrible, right? So, first round picks still have value, but it doesn't have the value it had at the deadline. So, I don't know, man.
I agree.
That sucks.
This whole trade conversation, like I'm not. It is what it is.
But
as far as the season goes, we asked, was it a disappointment? You kind of already answered that. I think depending on how you want to look at it, if you want to do the silver lining thing, you could point to a lot of the problems that we overcame. But the fact that we finished as the 9 seed and didn't even make the playoffs, and last year with the same team, we made the playoffs and took the Suns to 6. It's frustrating. That's it. I think that's the word. It's frustrating.
Not even this. If you really look at it, we're a better team because you got the same pieces. You're missing Jose, which is a big deal. You're missing Larry, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because I think if you have Larry instead of Jax yesterday, that helps you a little bit.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Now, I mean, there's other things that happened during the game, right, that could have led to a win. But you have Trey, who is like exponentially better than what he was last year, and then Herb took another step. So you got the same team that is a little better. Bi was playing great last year at this time, but he was on a different level this last month, right?
Yeah.
So, it's again, it's injuries make it tough to. It's not an apples to apples thing because of that, but
okay.
I don't know, man.
We'll just. It's a wash. We'll call it a wash.
It's
what I do want to
disappointing.
ask,
That's the end.
It's disappointing. It's frustrating. What I do want to ask, and something that I have seen a little frustration with, that I think this part's a little warranted, and I have questions about. I'm not going to talk about it through the offseason because we're going to see a lot of articles and opinion pieces about Zion and all these other things. But I do want to call attention to a tweet I saw about Zion doing windmills in front of the fans before the game. Just kind of the audacity there. Like, hey, I'm not playing. I'm not ready to play, but I'm going to do windmills in front of the home crowd.
Yeah.
Like, do you have thoughts on that? Does that frustrate you? Because it frustrates me a little bit, I'll be honest.
It does. I mean,
I was going to say, to kind of even go a little deeper into that, I mean, obviously we still don't know why he didn't play, right? Like, we assume things. You hear one thing, but then you hear another thing from somewhere else. You hear the stepdad's angry about the weight clause. You hear all these random things, right? Like, and you don't really know. But then you see him windmilling in front of everybody, and you think, "Oh, he's fine." Now, did he look a little slow in warm-up? Sure.
So, yeah, the windmill specifically is what does it. Because just those dunks like that's got to be part of what he, him testing out what he can do. That's a major part of his game.
Right.
So trying to dunk before the game is not. It is what it is, and you can tell. Like anybody who watched that and was like, "Yeah, he's good." I don't know what you're watching, because to me, when I first saw it, I was like. I don't know how much effort he's putting in, but dude was barely grazing the rib. You know what I mean? And you can tell and not even not to fat shame or anything. He put on weight. It was clear, right?
Yeah, of course.
And that's expected. I mean, I guess there's things you can do while you're out to minimize it. We don't know what he was doing, but to imagine that, imagine that he's not going to be a little out of shape after not playing real games or even practices for 3 months is. It's kind of ridiculous.
Oh, for sure.
Not going to happen.
It's going to take anybody time to at least get back to playing shape.
Right. Now, you can question the fact that it was a hamstring strain, and why does it take 3 months to come back from that when some people come back from it in a month? But everybody's body's not the same. It is frustrating though to see the windmill thing, and a lot of stuff kind of goes through your head when you see that, and it's like. In a way, it's kind of like me being like, all right, maybe that's him saying, showing everybody, I can play.
Right.
They won't let me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's that goes through your head. It's also, maybe he's just seeing what he can do. Who knows? Maybe that's how he judges whether he's at his peak or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, to see that before the game, and it's just the optics of it is.
It's tough.
It's tough.
It's tough with your superstar showing the fans, so to speak. I mean, he's probably not thinking of it like that. Like you said, he might just be seeing what he can do. I don't know. But showing the fans that you can throw down a windmill right before a play-in game, the last game of the year, basically, it's a win or go home, and then you're not suiting up. It's tough to see. It's bad. The optics are bad. I don't know if you said that. You might have said that. The optics are bad. We don't have to dive in too much deeper than that.
Yeah,
listen, I tweeted I will wait for Zion until
Yeah.
right? Like he's when it comes to a guy like that, like you don't trade that guy no matter what. You just wait it out, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It just is what
Right,
it is.
and his dude, and even if you, I mean, maybe just to play devil's advocate, you take some call because I saw Schmidt in a thread saying that because he replying to what Perk said today on First Take, which wasn't, I mean, as far as things Perk says, not the most outlandish thing, you know. But I was reading through the comments and I saw Schmidt just reply to somebody and say, at this point, I think you essentially said you have to take calls, whether it means you make a trade or not. You at least listen, and maybe if somebody offers you like some kind of like Godfather offer for him, I mean, maybe just to play devil's advocate, I still want to hold on to him. But in that scenario, maybe you can get off of it. But no, I'm with you. I don't want to trade him no matter what. And even right now, like I've not bashed him at all because until I know for sure that he was like, I don't want to play. When I know it was his decision, then maybe I start being like, what are we doing? Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I saw you liked it. Nobody's talking about that they said during the game that he wasn't actually cleared to play.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's a cover-up, I don't know.
That's the thing. You don't know.
Yeah.
Like, the reporting has been so back and forth from the organization, the words that have come out. And Griff is normally a guy that's very, very particular about what he says and what he puts out. And it's just odd. It's like, is somebody being protected? Like, a part of me is like, I think he's not meeting conditioning metrics. And they don't want to say that because they don't want that whole Zion's fat discussion to start, which is
happening
nonsense.
Anyway.
It's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But you can't. So maybe they're protecting his reputation to an extent. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like nothing they've done has really helped. Like, honestly, I wanted to hear from Zion, but if it had stopped after the day Griff came out and cleared everything up from that non-update, I think we'd be at a better place right now.
Yeah.
Because I think Zion actually talking made it worse. Because you got the people that, if it is just like a mental health thing, you got people that are still not accepting of that, right? And I mean, I guess rightfully so. That's kind of a new thing. People are trying to come to grips with that, I guess. Like I understand it, but I mean, I guess I understand it taking other people, like old heads, a while to get used to that. You know what I mean?
Well, the sports world, the mindset, the bravado that comes with being an athlete in any capacity, football, basketball, baseball, whatever it is, if you're not dying, you play. Like, that's just the old adage, right? Like, you're going to war. Like, there's all these things that people would use to describe.
And to kind of, I mean, so move past this and probably transition into something else you had, then you have somebody else on the team playing with multiple injuries that are worse, you know, in a way. And then you got him.
And you got him.
Sitting over there. And I don't know, man.
CJ did have some interesting words after the game that would make you think.
CJ's pretty blunt. You know, he's not one that has minced words in the past.
I forget exactly what his words were, but it was like, man, like, you know, I'm out here.
He said we got to find ways to be available, be on the court, do the things off the court that make us be able to be on the court. Like, that's almost word for word what he said.
Yeah. And it was following up him basically saying, like, I played with a shredded shoulder and shredded thumb. And, you know, it's like, hey, look at me. You guys should have been doing this, is how I took it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's tough from the president of the I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
At the same time, that's what you want from a vet, though, right? Like,
but I think, like, do you do that externally?
I imagine he's tried.
Do you think he's done it internally? Like, hey,
I imagine when he first got here, he had talks with Zion.
Yeah. And
maybe Zion's still kind of doing his own thing, and now he's like, listen, I tried one way. We're going to try it this way.
That's fair.
You know? I don't know. Or maybe he just was saying that and wasn't taking a shot at anybody. And
maybe.
It looks bad.
Maybe,
you know?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe he's not thinking. He's just, woe was me there.
Right.
All right, let's play our game.
Yeah, we're at 30 minutes.
We're gonna kill this out. So, name of the game is Keep or Kill.
Keep or kill.
Keep or
Jesus.
kill. Well, it could have been keep or cut, but like some people would probably come back at us and be like, "Well, you're not going to cut this person; you'll trade them, or you just won't
So
re-sign
we'll just
them,
kill
or
them."
blah blah blah." So in terms of kill, I just mean like kill the relationship.
The original name was Stay or Go.
Stay or go. Well, I'm calling it keep or kill
That's
because it's
fine.
more aggressive.
Let's go.
We're gonna hop around. I have the Pelicans roster pulled up. We're gonna go one by one, and we're gonna stay or go.
I mean, we're not going all the way down to like Darius Seabron.
Oh, we're going all the way. No, we don't. Have
Okay.
To do that.
Keep.
All right, let's start. I'm gonna start with. Well, this is an obvious one. I'm gonna start with Jose Alvarado.
Keep.
All right, and we don't have to go deep into it. We could just one word move on. I'm also saying
Yeah.
keep.
So are we saying like what we think they'll do, or what would we do?
I think.
Or if there's, I guess for the bigger names, there's kind of both. We can kind of deep dive.
Yeah,
into it a
that's
little
fine.
bit.
That's fine. Najee Marshall.
Is he a free agent or?
He's got what's the red the team option. He's got a team option.
I'd keep him. I can't imagine it costs much to keep him.
Nah.
I feel like there's a role for him on the team. He's a serviceable bench player that, I mean, you probably don't want to get too many minutes, but if you have to, you can trust him for a few games. We've seen that.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, there's going to be guys at the end of the roster that aren't here anymore.
Yeah. But at the same time, if he were to go,
Yeah.
like, you understand it. Because you can upgrade. You
Yeah.
definitely can upgrade that.
Herb Jones.
Oh, yeah, you're keeping.
Okay. Here's one my wife's going to hate. Willie Hernan Gomez. Old Billy.
I think you let him go. He kind of wanted out.
I think he's gone.
Yeah, I think he's gone too.
Trey Murphy.
He's obviously staying, and I wouldn't trade him for anybody. Like, there's no way. He's on like a rocket ship right now.
I agree.
That's one of the few like bright spots going into next year. Like right now is what his game is going to be.
Absolutely.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, I think you even saw it down the stretch there. Like he's basically he should have been your number 2.
Yeah.
Especially with CJ being so hobbled.
Yeah.
Like Trey, they should have been drawing up plays for BI and Trey, not BI and CJ, and it felt like they were.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kyra.
I like Kyra. I want him to stay, but again, I think you can upgrade. You got to dive into Dyson. I think Dyson's potential is a little higher than Kyra's. I liked what I saw from Dyson at the beginning of the year, and if he can get back to that as like a baseline, then I'd rather just roll with Dyson because I don't think you can go with both Heaven Jose.
Yeah.
Not enough minutes to go around there.
No, I agree. I do like Kyra. I wonder where the minutes come from. I think it's easier to swing a trade, but I don't know what his trade value is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like when I say cut or move on, whatever, that in some capacity, how they go, I don't know.
Garrett Temple.
You listen. I like the idea of him being like the Udonis Haslem role. If you can convince him to move to like a coaching role, why not? You know what I mean? Or like he does it. There's always a spot. Listen, Miami's been keeping Udonis Haslem on the bench for
forever,
like 10 years now. I don't hate that. You don't want to ever have to play him, but there is a role for a veteran like that. Now, sometimes you can convince those guys to just go be a coach, which I'm sure he would do. He's from here. Like, he'd probably rather – his family's still here. He'd rather stay here, I'm sure. I'd find a way to keep him around. Whether it's as a player, I don't know, but I'd find a way to keep him around.
I don't hate it, but I go back to the thought that, you know, how much are they going to overhaul this roster? Like, some of these guys are going to go.
Right. But if they do, if they bring in some new young guys, it's nice to have him there.
Right. Well, you got to think, because EJ is definitely going to have an opportunity.
Well, keep going, because
which I skipped over him and Darian Sebron, but you know,
EJ, I think go to Jax.
Yeah. Well, we'll skip Dyson Daniels because I assume obviously you keep Jackson Hayes.
I think Jax goes.
I think you trade him. I think you should have traded him at the deadline.
Agreed. If you could have found a way to
play him,
if you could have found a way to package him and Devontae, would have been nice. I think he goes, and I think they kind of listen. They're obviously not the same player, but I think his minutes kind of go to EJ, and they try to put EJ in the forward role. It was like a small 4 maybe to try to fill that role. I think you've given Jax enough opportunity. If he goes be great somewhere else, then
you know what's funny? I don't think you have given him enough opportunity. Like it's time. It's time.
Yeah.
But he didn't get the amount of play he should have to see.
But at the time he did, like, yeah, there'd be a few games a year. There's always that stretch, right, where he had a couple games. But it was never like 10, 15 games in a row where you're like, all right, we can really roll with this. Like, he never was consistent enough to be like, if we were a bad team, like just a bad team, you'd know if he was what you had in him.
Yeah. I think there's definitely trade value there. I don't know how much.
Yeah.
There's something there. Larry Nance.
You got to keep Larry. I like Larry.
I think just culture-wise,
yeah,
he's a good vet. He deals with some injuries, which is tough. But I mean, it's only tough because everyone deals with injuries. Yeah. So like Larry being another one.
He's like we talked about it earlier in the year. He's got to be one of the best like backup bigs in the league because there's not a lot of. There's not a lot of good centers to begin with, right? Like, so to have a big that good coming off the bench. That if you have to start him because of an injury to your main guy, like you feel good.
Here's an interesting one, Josh Richardson.
See, this is so tough because it's like, what are your other options? Like you don't
know until you know.
Right. As right now, I like Josh Richardson. Like I look at, there's no way he costs a lot of money.
12 mil. He's making 12 mil right now.
He ain't gonna make 12 mil again.
I was gonna say he's a free agent.
So, like maybe you try to bring him back, but then again, he's just like a defensive specialist, kind of, right? There's plenty of Josh Richardsons in the league.
Yeah.
So you probably let him walk, and maybe you get somebody else in here.
People might kill me for this, man, but I let him walk.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I didn't see anything out of Josh Richardson that told me, oh, we need him. If anything, I saw the opposite. He makes boneheaded plays.
Yeah,
he gets dumb technicals.
He's a good defensive player.
He's a good defensive player, but he's also his talent is not good enough for him to make the dumb plays that he makes.
Do you think he was an upgrade from Devontae?
I think for what this team needed, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I do. I don't hate that trade.
Yeah, no, that trade. I mean, you didn't give up anything.
Right. Zion.
I'm keeping him, man.
Yeah, I don't think that's not even a question for me.
It would. I mean, listen. In order for me to eventually get over that move, it would have to be a haul. I mean, a haul. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what the haul would be there. Like,
right.
You were talking about a Godfather offer, and I was trying in my head to think.
Yeah, I don't know what you would.
The only thing that came to mind, and this would never happen, is if Luka is that disgruntled in Dallas, and it's like, hey, let's just swap these stars. And that's like, I don't see how that would even happen because I don't think Dallas would ever do that.
I was just about to ask you, at this point, do you think you can just give, like, you're going to have to give something with him?
Yeah,
right?
That's what I'm saying, because he's, like, the potential versus the...
Trying to think of other stars that could possibly be available to see how far down you'd be willing to go.
It's
like, obviously,
it's
they're
tough.
So obviously they're not going to do it anymore, but Shea, that level of superstar. Because Shea's becoming a superstar.
He is. He can't shoot worth a lick, though. But
No.
but he's so good at getting to the rim that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like, obviously they're not going to trade him anymore.
Mm.
But that was the thing.
Mm.
Dame.
No.
No?
I mean, no, but, like, there's no... So that's
I'm just,
my thing.
Like, I wouldn't trade him for any of this, but I'm trying to think of the level of star that you could possibly get in return.
It's hard because it's so boom or bust with him. Like, if he's healthy, he is one of the best players in the league. And I'm not ready to give up on that.
Yeah.
Like, I will literally ride that.
just think back to the beginning of the year. It was him or BI in Kevin Durant talks. Kevin Durant. Like,
here's the thing, and BI fans may hate me for this because BI clearly had a great run, and he's a great player. There's a clear difference between Zion and BI. Zion is a superstar. He's a megastar.
Yeah.
When healthy, which is, and everybody, I saw y'all commenting. I stopped commenting on the post I made because it got shared and people, like haters, started hitting it hard about Zion. Like, you're going to be waiting forever. You're going to die before that happens. Politics will get better before that happens. Like, all these dumb answers.
Yep, and I'm still going to wait.
And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know what any of you think is going to change about what I said.
And I think we both understand that maybe that's a little irrational.
It is.
But man, listen, especially if he wants to be here, Like, you can't give up on that man.
That definitely changes if he comes out and says he doesn't want to be here, or if things get really bad and maybe he doesn't come out and say it, but like it's happening behind the scenes. Like,
yeah, this team has had 3 of those guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had CP,
Mm-hmm.
we had AD. For all we shit on AD, like, he was a guy, you know. He's not Zion,
No,
but we've lucked into 3 of those guys.
right?
The chances of finding a 4th are
Absurd.
like, even if you are so bad that you get one of those top picks, like, that doesn't come around often.
Yeah. No, a guy like Zion does not come around.
Like, this might be homerism, but fully healthy, like a fully healthy season of Zion, you're talking like LeBron level of greatness. Like, all his numbers back it up, and he's only however old he is.
Right.
Like, you're talking that much of a difference maker.
Yeah.
And you can't give up on that, to
Yeah.
me.
No, I agree. I 100% agree. I wish I disagreed because then we would have a better conversation here. I could play devil's advocate, but I'd be lying. Let's go. The next one, I'm going to skip one, and then we'll talk about 2 that are probably going to be the ones that are discussed the most this offseason. Brandon Ingram.
See, for me, I agree with you that he's not he part-time superstar is such a good thing. If Brandon Ingram is what he alluded to the second half of the season that he thought he got a lot better facilitating.
Oh, he
if
did.
If that becomes his game all the time, that's a different level of player.
It was amazing.
Right. That's superstar. That last
Yeah.
month of the season is superstar.
I still want to see.
I want to see it over a stretch of time.
I want to
over
see
a full season.
I think I want to see impactful plays on defense from him.
Yeah.
And I'm nitpicking now.
When the team Zion's the same way, right? But when the team was rolling in December, everybody was making defensive plays.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess it's just when the team is humming, it's like vibes are high,
Right.
like guys are putting in more effort. It's just human nature, right? And I've heard things about how like Jason Kidd would talk to Luka and be like you don't need to be a great defender. I just need you to get in somebody's way.
Right.
Like, that's all we need from all of them, right? But no, I'm with you. That's definitely like the next level of his game is becoming a good defensive player. Like, it's kind of the Kevin Durant thing where you're so tall, like you
Right.
should just be able to impact.
That's the thing.
Right.
And that's why I chose that word, impactful defensive plays.
Right.
I don't care if he's a good defender. I don't need him to
He's
be
never
an
gonna be a
everyday
lockdown
good defender. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm talking about in big games, in big moments, understanding the situation and playing some fucking defense.
Yeah. So the same conversation we just had about Zion, are there superstars you're trading BI for?
I don't know. I think
You just
something
said-
would have to be presented. It's
If
tough.
it's
tough. I'm a homer
because
with
he's
BI.
because Luka is the next superstar likely moved. You doing BI for Luka? That's tough. You know how I
people-
feel about Luka.
People will kill me because I love Luka. I really, really do. I think you go back to the conversation you had with Kevin Durant, right? When given the opportunity, you always pair a superstar with a superstar. It doesn't matter. Is Brandon Ingram a superstar? That's how the conversation came into play. And I said, I don't think he's as big of as a star as Kevin Durant. He's not as big of a star as Luka. But do the play styles mesh? That's where it gets tricky because
Luka is a tough, and I almost tweeted this out the other day, but I didn't know how to word it without going through like a thread. You know,
right.
Luka is such an interesting player because he needs that usage rate, or at least that's what we've seen so far, right? And granted, he hasn't had the greatest level of talent around him, and they've needed that.
He also, if we can call something out, he also is never in shape.
No.
And
But
I
at
know
times it doesn't matter.
Looking at me on
Like,
camera right
like
now,
that dude will drop 60
yeah.
after looking like he just came from a Golden Corral.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
for sure. I'm not saying that he's not.
Listen,
like, he can't play not in shape.
but can he – my thought is, can he – say you can keep B.I. and Zion and get Luka.
That what?
I don't know that it's out of the realm of possibility. If you throw a shit ton of picks, it depends on what the Mavs value more, right? Like you got young talent.
You're moving Trey at that point.
You're moving Trey for sure. Your spacing is not great. I don't know.
You got three.
But again, the fit. But my question is, like, my point is, if you have those three, like say you can keep those three, right?
Right.
Is he willing to take, like, because his usage rate is going down, like down.
Mm-hmm.
Is he cool with that? Like, you don't know.
Yeah. Is his usage rate going down though? You think?
You think if they're all healthy, you think Zion's playing second fiddle to anybody?
To Luka, yes. I think Zion's playing off ball.
Well, you don't think point Zion works? Like there's some
does.
interesting.
I think he does, but I think that it would. That's how I would
be
play
honest.
Because you're not going to stick Luka in a corner.
You want Luka. Like, you want Luka on your team, but it's such a terrible fit.
It's a terrible fit. But you would rather. So here's how I look at it, right? And now we're getting in the weeds.
It's not the KD thing where KD is plug and play.
We got two more players to talk about, but when I look at that, if for whatever reason you had Luka and Zion on the same team, which is wild to think of, you want Zion coming downhill off ball more than you want Luka coming downhill off ball, if that makes sense.
This is a weird thing to say. It is the same style of play as CJ. Luka is the same style of play, that ISO ball, but on an elite level. It's the same style of play.
Yeah.
He can shoot free throws. One can't. But and he's a better passer. Like, he does things better than CJ. Like, it's not anywhere close to the same level. But you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You'd be subbing CJ out with a more elite version of CJ. So does that work? Do those three work?
We don't know.
True.
They
were the one seed?
No, they were.
And the offense was rolling.
It was. They had great. I think they had a 126 offensive rating, like 106 defensive rating, or something like that. Whatever you want to.
And the thing with having the three bigs isn't necessarily the three of them on the floor at all times, right? It's the ability to be able to stagger them and have, at the very least, one of them at all times, but more than likely two of them at a time. So really, two of them need to work.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to have two of them on the floor more often together than you're going to have all three of them on the floor. Like, opening and closing minutes, you're going to have all three. But throughout the game, you're going to mix and match.
Yeah.
So as long as two of them can work.
It's going to take a lot of offensive creativity, which is a whole nother conversation that we don't have time for right now when it comes to the coaching staff and getting creative with drawing up plays for your best scorers and making it work. I don't want to have to be the guy to do it. You can probably do it. But
I mean, and it's a pipe dream anyway. Like, listen, I've made it clear I don't love Luka's game, but at the same time, yes, I love. For sure, I want him on my team.
It's fucking Luka Doncic. If you say no, I'm gonna look at you crazy.
Yeah, no, you always want him, but I don't love his game.
All right, we got two more to talk about, and we got stuck up on one I didn't think we were gonna.
Who were you even asking me about?
Brandon Ingram, and then we went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I thought it was just gonna be a yes and move the fuck on.
Well, it is a yes. To be clear, it is a yes.
Yeah, you keep him. Not even a question.
That is a question to some.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I mean, it depends on we're moving past it. Do you want to do CJ or Jonas first? I think there's a conversation for both.
You choose.
All right, let's do CJ.
I'll be honest. I think if you can, and listen, you preface this by saying I love CJ for everything he did for the team to now, and I mean, I've made it clear since yesterday how I felt about how he played yesterday and throughout the season. I'm glad he toughed it out, all of that. But if you can I think that contract ages poorly. I think his game ages poorly. So if you can get off that contract to upgrade, like a clear upgrade,
yeah,
I do it. Like, if you can, and again, I don't know who you can get.
You package CJ. CJ gets packaged with somebody if you're actually going to move him.
Yeah,
for like a superstar.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, if it's, and it's all pipe dreams, but like if it's Dame, like I'm packaging.
How crazy would that be for CJ to get traded back to Portland for Dame?
But
leave Dame alone. By the way, Dame does not want to be traded, guys.
Listen, I don't know.
Him and Bradley Beal are just going to wallow in their fucking misery for years.
You know what?
Maybe it's not misery.
That's a good player. That's a good player to throw in.
He's not getting traded either.
Right, but no, on that level.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a good player to, like, if you're upgrading from CJ to Bradley Beal.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah. What about? Here's one, because I don't love this guy. Bam.
Well, that goes easily into the next one.
So my answer for CJ, which you haven't really given your answer for a lot of these. You kind of just.
I know. I've just been letting you talk.
Yeah, you let me get into the trouble, which I don't care. Like my feelings are not hidden ever. My feelings about CJ. I could go on a rant about CJ, but I'm not going to do it.
I think the thing is, in my head, I was like, we could just do a quick yes or no, but then like a lot of these are going to take conversations, so it's just like whatever. Like let's just talk about.
Well, I feel like I've exhausted my thoughts on CJ, which
listen. All right, I'll get my thoughts on CJ.
These are you should have a conversation about these two.
Yeah, you should definitely have a conversation
we'll be all right.
about CJ. I think that what he brings as a vet, I really do like. I really do like his leadership ability. I like that he calls out Zion and Bi or whoever. Yeah. You know, I like that he does that. I don't like. I know.
I just want to I wanted to be clear that none of what I knock is him as a.
I know what you knock
as a player. As a person.
I'm about to knock the same thing.
Go ahead. Go.
Let me say it.
Go.
What I hate about CJ is that the ball sticks. He looks for his shot before anybody else's, and his shot selection in big moments is fucking abysmal, it seems like. And maybe it's just me with like the way I've this year in my mind. I don't know, but like it's frustrating. It's very frustrating to see a guy who's lauded around the league as a phenomenal scorer, which he is. He's a great one-on-one scorer. I've seen him cook dudes and like
he's a great player. That's not a debate. He is a great player.
It's just so tough, and I don't know if it's like the plays that are drawn up and we're just fucking like freestyling eventually. But like even last night, I forget there was one possession where it was like early in the shot clock. Bi had been rolling. We get a steal, and CJ does his dribble pull up and doesn't even come close. And it's just like the flow of the game.
The
that was
floater
not called
got
for.
me.
The floater, I didn't hate. I know you hated that. There was 3 seconds left or something like that on the shot clock.
There was
when
4
it went
seconds.
Up. 4 seconds.
That's an eternity to get the ball to Trey 2 feet away and put up a shot.
I didn't think. I know that you were saying Trey. I didn't think that guy was that far off a Trey to where because Trey hesitates. Trey would have caught that, and his trigger in that area is not as quick as you would think.
I'll do that. I've watched that a million times. Shea is between Trey and the baseline. Yeah. And the second CJ starts to turn the corner, Shea drops down.
He did.
Trey is the most wide open I've ever seen Trey.
I didn't think it was as egregious as you're saying.
It's egregious.
But the cut that Jackson missed, which I don't blame Jackson because, I mean, you should. He's in the game. Like, he's got to make the play. But, like,
Jonas makes that play 10 out of 10
10 out of 10 times, which leads us to the next person on the list, Jonas Valanciunas. A lot of people are going to say get rid of him. I want your thoughts.
I think the game yesterday is all you need to see to say no, to not get rid of him. If they play through him like they should, it goes back to our conversation of, like, do you trade somebody because the coaches don't know how to use them?
Right.
You know? I don't want to get rid of Jonas because we know what he can do. That dude, like, legitimately could be an all-star. If they just played through him like they should, he dominated.
Right.
He's a liability on defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it always on him, or is it just the positions he gets put in sometimes? You know, I don't know.
Well, he's slow.
Yeah,
he's slow.
Yeah,
he's big. He's lumbering. He looks like he's hurt all the time. To be honest, I think he was really banged up this year. I think that's something that's being overlooked. He's not going to say it. The team's not going to say it. I'm pretty sure.
But you're saying that, like, on a team where your two superstars are a liability health wise, like, to have somebody like that you know, granted it's a weird position to have somebody like that at, like a center position. You know, I love Jonas, man. I like that he's the only player on our team that will bang for a rebound. The only one. Like,
yeah.
I feel like we have the only rebounder we have is Jonas.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
If you get rid of that, no, if you're upgrading, so we just said Bam. If you can get Bam, I don't like Bam. I don't think Bam's all that great of a player. I think he's a little overrated.
Yeah.
But if he fits the style, like if you can upgrade him for somebody on the same level of talent that fits more what Willie wants to do, then I guess you do it. But I don't know. I've been in the boat that this team, if you kept this same roster together, and of course health permitting, this roster is good enough to win whatever you want to win. But
do you think that the front office is ballsy enough to roll that same roster out next season?
Would it shock you? Would it shock
It
you if
would
they
shock
came out
me.
and said,
It would shock me.
if we can just stay to be
It would
honest,
shock
they
me.
might not have a lot of options. As far as the stars go,
Well, as far as the stars go, no.
like,
But it would shock me.
it's not as easy, I think, to get off of some of these guys that people want to get off of. Like, you can get off of JV. Somebody would trade for JV.
So that's if I give my answer for JV real quick, I was just going to give a short keep. I wasn't even going to expand.
Yeah.
But I will expand a little bit. You keep at least through the trade deadline or to the trade deadline. You see where you are, and if things aren't working, you move him. He's tradable.
I guess what I'm trying to yeah, he is tradable. There's a lot. I mean,
I want him though. I keep him even if he's off the
I would
bench.
say this. Outside, like, list your guys that are untouchable.
Well,
Completely untouchable.
you go Z. Well, it depends. Like untouchable, unless it's like a Godfather offer, or just
just
definitely not moving. No matter what.
Like, all right, there's a superstar that is available. It's known he's available. You got to put out your best offer.
It's situational.
Who
It's
are
situational.
you not willing to trade?
But I say, if gun to my head, I say obviously Zion, Bi, and Trey. Like those are the three. Everybody else, I am willing to move. Now there's a conversation about each one, and it depends. And even Bi, like there's a conversation, and even Trey, like you know what I mean. Like I think Zion, whatever. Zion is the only one that I'm absolutely not. Nobody, it doesn't matter. And that's probably the craziest thing in the world to a lot of people out there, but that's just how my brain works.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only one that you're really leaving out is Herb, which I'm willing to move to for the right guy.
I love Herb, but he's 25. He's going to be 26.
No, no, I didn't. I'm saying that as like of the big names on the team,
right,
that have value.
Right.
He's the one, and I'll be honest, I don't know that he would have that much value in a trade.
I love Herb. I don't want Herb going anywhere.
No,
I'll be very clear about that.
Let's be honest. Like, you don't want most of this team going anywhere.
Right.
Like, we love this team.
Right.
It's just something's got to fucking give, man. But my overall question would be, at what point do you look at a team and say, this roster is talented, top to bottom? Is it coaching? Like, how quick can you start blaming coaching? Because Willie, I love Willie, but he's got his flaws. Like, there's...
it's very interesting. He definitely has his flaws. Coming out in the playing game, I was a little frustrated with Willie through the close of the season. I was just like, man, I don't know what's happening offensively. I don't like the way our team is playing. We seem very lackadaisical in every area. We were on a win streak, but it was only against bad teams. The play-in game, those guys looked ready to play. They had a good game plan. Now, it kind of fell apart. There were adjustments made on the other end, and it was a good game throughout, and we just didn't fucking win. It is what it is. Like,
I think he needs some assistant coaches.
I was going to say,
some better assistant coaches.
I am not ready by any means to give up on Willie.
I agree.
At all. Like, I don't know how else to say that, but I do think that there is something to, like, listen.
There's a window, right? Like, there's a window for your team.
Right.
And, yeah, you give – he's a first-time head coach. You give him –
he's gotten better every year.
He's gotten better every year. The team has, record-wise, gotten better every year. And he's done it going through – like, his worst stretch was when the team was just in complete disarray.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can say a good coach makes a team like that look competent, I guess, Because we just talked about how they looked like they didn't know what they were doing.
When the Warriors didn't have Steph and they didn't, like, if you look at these teams that don't have their star players, like, they don't win games. It just is what it is.
But like we just said, it's not even necessarily about the record, right?
Right.
They looked unprepared some nights against bad teams. And if we're in a position where you win one of those games, you're not even playing last night.
I think.
Right? Like, this is me playing devil's advocate a little bit. Right?
No, and if I could go against it, I think that the thing I look at there when we're talking about coaching, like at what point do you look at the coaching? The players make some dumb mistakes. You can't coach some of this stuff out of these guys. Like, it's at the end of the day, guys are just I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to dog anybody right now. But.
Right. Like the play was there for Jax to make the pass under the basket. It's not made. Okay. whether you agree or not, the play's there for CJ to make, maybe, instead of doing a stupid floater.
Yeah.
Even the last they're not going to make that long shot more than likely to tie the game up where they just throw the inbound pass out of bounds. Like, it's how much is it on coaching that we can't inbound a ball?
I agree. Unless you want to point
Like,
to
are the
whatever
inbound
play
plays
call
not
is.
good?
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, it's different thing. You go back to the Lakers game we lost when Matt Ryan hit the three in the corner. Like, that's not coaching. Trey, he's a young player, but you're told where to go. If you don't do it, like, that's on you. But at the same time, your team has a window, right? Before you got to start paying all these guys, and you're not going to keep them anyway.
Right.
It's got to – I think he gets next year for sure. For me, unless the first half of the season –
unless the wheels come off.
Right.
Like, it's got to be rough.
He gets next year, and if he doesn't get something done next year, like some playoff progress, I mean, unless I'm fully healthy is what I'm talking about for the majority of the season, then he gets kind of like that Mark Jackson treatment to me, where you just try to upgrade and see if somebody else can, like, he built the foundation and see if somebody else can get you over the hump. Because that's a thing sometimes, right?
Right.
Like, I don't know, but I'm still all in on Willie. We went through every player. We had to go through the coach.
We had to go through the coaches too. You're right. Oh well, there's more coaches, but yeah, I don't know.
I think he needs. We need like some good offensive. I don't know what he needs to just go somewhere. Because what was he here for?
No, I don't think you heard the.
I didn't hear anything
conversation
about him,
with Larry when Larry joined the Spaces a while back, but. It came up in the Spaces. They kind of asked, like, what is D'Antoni's relationship? What is he doing? And Larry was just kind of like, I don't know. He's like, now I'm not a coach. I don't know the relationships they have. He's like, I can tell you, he's not front and center. Like, he's not around the team. He's not around the players. He's not telling the players things to do. Now, if he's telling the coaches things to do, I don't know. He was like, but honestly, like, we don't see him. We don't. Like, I took it as like he's not connected. He's not really doing anything.
Like, you look at all these. Like, you look at the Warriors, the Bucks, the Suns, like, all their assistant coaches get poached at the end of the year for a reason, right? And they're always consistently good teams. We don't have that right now. And you want to that's what you try to build. Like, you got your guy. Whether it's him, I don't know who's hiring, whether he had all the decisions on the staff or whether that's Griff. Like, whatever needs to be done to get those guys in, like, to fill out the rest of it. The only other good coach we know we have is Fred Vinson.
I think Teaspoon.
Yeah, well, Teaspoon, of course. I'd try to keep.
I couldn't even name the other coaches. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's what I don't know.
And that's my fault.
Corey Brewer is something.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's true.
I'm sure we're missing.
There's a bunch.
Names,
yeah, there's a bunch. There's a bunch of other guys that we're not naming. But
yeah, I don't know, man. Just to wrap it up, it's disappointing. At the end of the day, I didn't think we were going anywhere.
I don't either.
I really didn't. I know you were playing. I know you didn't either. You being your little positive.
I didn't think we were going anywhere.
But you had to be positive, Patty. I get it.
But there was the point in that one podcast where I was like, listen, and I was like, I won't say this. I think I said I'll never say this again, and here I am saying it again. I didn't think that team was good. I didn't think we were going very far.
I mean, I didn't think we were getting through last night. I really didn't. It just I thought we had a chance, and there's something to, like, we joke like the vibes were off. There's something to that. Like, just all the negative stuff about Zion and just, I don't know. It just felt like things were about to crash and burn.
Yeah.
And
well, we got our frustrations out. So if you made it this far, Jesus Christ. But I appreciate y'all. And that's really all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
In my best
it was a good
Forrest Gump interpretation. Or, yeah, whatever. I can't even talk.
I don't like that we ended like that. That makes me sad. Which is crazy. Because, like, I don't even – like, I love the Pels. I'm a diehard Pels fan. But, like, basketball is not anywhere near my favorite sport. So, like, it doesn't hurt me like a Saints loss does at the end of the season. But it still sucks.
It sucks.
There was so much promise.
It sucked. The Pels are by far my favorite professional team. So
I hope that whatever happens in the offseason – to wrap this up, to end it completely.
Yeah, you're talking still.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to get
I want to say
this.
Like, shout out to – this team was terrible at the end of the year, and they were still packing the arena.
Yeah.
I hope that no matter what, that continues.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I hope the city still buys into this no matter what. Like, I just want that fan base to be established, and we'll be good. Like, keep this culture around.
I think it will. I think you'll see it. You know, unless the team is just abysmal, like people are going to be packing the place out.
Yeah.
You know, the days of my $250 courtside seats are long gone, and I'm so disappointed. But it's fine. It's the right thing.
You're up in the rafters with the rest of us.
That's not true. I still.
I saw Rel talking about it. You're up there freezing your ass off under these vents with the rest of us.
Nope.
Anyway, man.
I'll spend my $100 and something to sit down there in the lower bowl. It's fine. It's totally fine. All right, that's it. Close it out. You know, shout out to all the people who cover the team too, because it's been a
logical way. I don't want to shout out the ones that do it for clicks. Shout out to all the other ones.
That's fair.
Especially Rel, friend of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.